Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now she's taking this one home again.
Cute. So cute. Oh, he's cute. And he will love you too. If you come down to Lorain County Dog Kennel and pick out a pet, we have a lot to choose from as usual. And we're also going to have a presentation from Dr. Wood and Rick Lorain from United for Animal Justice today. We have some good numbers. We want to get as many dogs adopted as possible. So please come down and rescue one of these little guys. They're lovable, as you can see. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Our thought for today: silence is often misinterpreted, but never misquoted.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
In 9:45, Dr. Will present Mr. Kitty, and under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Travel expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Trying to slow it down a little bit. We're going way too fast here.
Government's going too fast?
Yeah.
Ms.
Not
Blair?
likely.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within jurisdiction.
Now it'll
of the
slow
Commissioners.
down. I got you to laugh.
You did, Commissioner, you did. I do have a couple union issues with regard to contract negotiations that we should update on an executive session. I have one personnel potential hire at Job and Family Services, both permissible topics under the Sunshine Law, so I request an executive session at the conclusion of a regular board meeting today to discuss those issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Number 10, approve and waive the reading of the same for Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting minutes for January 31st, 2008.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Support Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur's fiscal year '09 federal appropriation request for matching funds for the development of the Ohio Hub, Cleveland, Toledo, Detroit passenger rail corridor.
Commissioner Kukowski had some question about the funding aspect of this, and Karen Davis contacted the Ohio Rail Development Commission and prepared a little report for us, and it was inserted in that file number. Teresa, can you retrieve it and I think read it for us, because I can't find my copy.
Do Do you want the whole memo, or you want
No,
just a
that,
section
just the
here?
highlighted one.
As requested by Commissioner Blair, I discussed the match money issue with Don Darman, passenger rail planner of the Ohio Rail Development Commission. Mr. Darman indicated that the project has the support of the governor, and they are waiting for a letter from him stating that he is committed to funding the 20% match. There are several sources that the funds can come from: Ohio Department of Transportation, CMAQ, State Planning and Research, and of course the Ohio Rail Commission. When I asked about the local participation, Mr. Darman indicated that they would look for in-kind services for local government, such as staff support.
Does that address your concern?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, as long as we don't have to expend any dollars for match money. I'll vote in favor of this.
Thank you. Also move.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, actually, yesterday in the State Address, the governor addressed that he dedicated $150 million to state infrastructure, which includes roads, rails, and ports. So
Ooh.
he did address
wonderful,
it yesterday. so.
Wonderful.
Anything further? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Children and Families Council, modified Lorain County Service Provider agreements utilizing Children and Family Council funds to better reflect the ability to serve our clientele.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under EMA Homeland Security, authorize Lorain County Lorain Emergency Planning District to apply for $71,000 to the State Emergency Response Commissioner for County Hazmat Program.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under the Transit, authorize Lorraine County Director Robin Bulin and our Budget Director to execute the necessary documents, including but not limited to the bank cards for Lorraine County Transit, and remove County Administrator, which was approved by Resolution 07363 adopted May 24, 2007.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, as you know, we've been working on our transfer point out at the mall with our transit system, and the day finally came when we were booted off the property. And I say that kind of not meaning any bad will, because they left us there for a long time after they notified us, but they're getting ready to do construction out there, so we've had to make some temporary arrangements with regards to where our buses are pulsing out of, and we are working on a long-term strategy, and we may have found a very suitable piece of property, which is another thing I need to update my request for the executive session for, to discuss that piece of property and a potential purchase thereof. And I want to thank Commissioner Kokoski for sending me some leads on some property, because we've been flushing those out, but Ron has a little bit more information on what's going on for the public.
We have a press release that we'll share with the media today, and if anybody else wants it, we have extra copies we can give them. As of 6 o'clock yesterday morning, we moved the transfer point from where it had been on the old Elyria School maintenance garage. As you know, that's going to be a new Walmart. Construction and demolition has started. The building, of course, is gone, but we were able on Monday to receive word that we had to vacate that, and so Tuesday we pulled out the bus shelter and our trash containers and things like that. Wednesday morning we are in front, the access road going to Summers, in front of Lowe's, or where we're transferring temporarily, and it is a temporary fix. We hope that it will be 30 days or less. The manager at Lowe's, and his name is their name is Jamie Joseph. They've been very good to work with. We've also contacted the city of Elyria to get permission to make sure that there were no problems from the engineer's office. The traffic coordinator has granted us the permission to do this transfer there on a temporary basis. Staff has also been working to let the passengers and the public know, and that's what we're doing today. This did come up rather quickly, even though we have known for about 45 days that it was likely going to happen. We understood that it would be this spring, but spring has sprung. Apparently the groundhog, Buckeye Chuck, fixed that. But we've been putting flyers on all of the buses so that the passengers know, because that was our first group of people that we wanted to make aware of this situation. Even though they get on the bus at stops and transfer at the transfer point, nobody that I'm aware of will drive to the transfer point to get on the bus to go someplace, so it shouldn't affect them. But we felt that they needed an explanation what was going on and that it was a temporary fix. We've also posted and faxed to the traffic generation sites like LCC, MRDD, our own Human Services Building, notification, and it's posted in County Transit as well, notification of this adjustment. And then we're trying to do it by word of mouth and through this press release today. We certainly want to thank the property owners that we have been using the site in behind Midway Mall. Certainly want to thank the Lowe's management for allowing us to temporarily be at that locations. We're having some issues with trash, but we're addressing those on a nonstop basis with staff to try and keep the litter picked up. And we will try to, we've got a short list of about 3 properties that it looks like one is very favorable. We've begun phone calls to try and work out an arrangement on the one site, and we'll fill the commissioners in on that since it may be an acquisition case. We'll talk about that at the commissioners meeting, but if that fails for some reason, we've got 2 other sites that we're going to investigate a little bit further. So we hope that within 30 days we'll find another permanent home to have this transfer point. The issue really becomes one of logistics. You have to make sure that all those routes coming in, 11 buses, 12 buses, depending on the routes, have to be within a minute or 2 from the other location, and we think we have one that will work for the circulation and ease of access back onto the highway and everything else. So the transit staff on your behalf have worked hard to resolve that. We just want to make sure that the public is aware. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron. We did a pretty good job being reactionary, but we've been aware of this problem for a year or 2 on our Pulse Point. Unfortunately, we just haven't been able to obtain a piece of property that was within responsible cost range to make it effective for us to be there. And the Elyria area is our central area to the whole Pulse network for the transit system, and we have looked at shifting it east, west, north, south, but the time frames don't make a lot of sense once you start moving it. Just a few minutes of movement either way causes a major disruption in the whole system. You got to repulse the whole system, look at all the stops, retime everything. So while it seems rather simple, it's a lot more complicated than that. And hopefully we can secure a suitable piece of property at a responsible price, because it'll cost us just as much to come in and have somebody retime the whole system, and it'll take months to do. So we're on top of the commission. If you hear any complaints, please forward them. We'll do everything we can to alleviate any stress on the ridership that's using transit. Other than that, just
I have a
remind you-
question, Jim Norga.
Yes, sir.
Is there transit dollars to help pay for the acquisition?
Well, there will be. We had initially believed that when we sold the condo at One Park Landing, that we would use that money to reinvest in the train station down here in Elyria. But we also should be able to, we've had some very, very cursory discussions with FTA out of Chicago. We should be able to transfer that money to other purchase of capital resource, which are a Pulse Point or a park and ride or something of that nature would work for. Can I tell you definitively? No. We have to get something, then I have to present it to
Apply
them.
for it, sure.
But the concept has been floated with them, so I'm hopeful, and I'm always aware that the commissioners want to know exactly where money's coming from, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do that. So once Ron and I are able to nail down a purchase price and something definitive, I'll get busy with the FTA in Chicago. If need be, Chicago's right around the corner. We've been up there to see them before. They like the personal approach. We'll go up there and bend a few fingers and get their cooperation if we can. So, but I will tell you this, we will require assistance from the general fund until the condo's sold. We have had the condo on the market for a year, and we have had no movement on it. And that's unfortunate, because there's actually 2 condominiums in that building that are up for sale at the same time. One is the old chamber location and ours, and we're not getting any real activity towards anybody wanting to buy it. And we had hoped that we would get around $200,000 to $225,000 from the condo, which would be a flat rate about what they paid for it when they bought it several years ago under the transit board. So I don't want to mislead you there, thinking that the sale of the condo is right around the corner. In this soft market, it could be several more months or another year before we see any activity on that. So we will require, at least at the very onset, a loan from the general fund if we purchase a piece of property.
Thank you.
And that concludes my comments this morning. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor.
Commissioners, last week you had asked for an update on the CRA litigation, and we're prepared to provide that for you in executive session, so.
Can we
Thank
do our
you.
other stuff first then, so I can leave, because I can't be a part of it?
Right.
Carrie? Okay.
So you can't leave, though, because you have to come back.
Commissioners report.
This week I had some conversations with some Amherst residents, and they're part of the new test program for pay to throw, and they're receiving their new containers. The problem is the only information that they've gotten about this new program is what they read in the newspapers. I don't know if we can put the heat on Allied Waste to send them letters and let them know exactly how this program is supposed to work, or if our solid waste management can do something, but, you know, it's really been, it should really be up to Allied to let them know how this program is supposed to fly. They have a lot of questions.
Shouldn't their city do that? They negotiated it?
Somebody needs to do it. I don't know if it should be Allied or the city, or somebody needs to let them know, though. I just want to bring it to the attention. The only information that they know about this program is what they read in the newspaper.
I would think the city and the city council who approved it should
Or-
inform,
or-
whatever rules they negotiated.
Well, I think we should probably contact maybe Allied Waste, too, because they're a part of this process, and somebody needs to let those residents know what's going on.
Well, again, that's why I say if you go back to their city, whatever they negotiated in their garbage pickup would be whatever rules they made up, right? I think it was flexible, everybody negotiated it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well,
whatever the city negotiated would be their responsibility.
Well, I don't care who tells them, but somebody needs to tell them.
Call the mayor.
I'll call the mayor.
Call the mayor.
And I think he should be contacting Allied Waste, as a matter of letting
A
his...
courtesy?
Yes,
Yes.
letting his constituents know what is happening in his community.
Okay, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Lori. Ted?
Congratulations to Joel Arredondo, appointed as council president of the city of Lorain last week, and Dan Gibbon back to his council at large, so congratulations. And then on Friday, all three of us attended Team Lorain County Groundhog Day. They had Lieutenant Governor Lee Fisher come in to speak, talk about the job growth in Lorain County. It was a packed audience. It was very nice to know that the state of Ohio is looking fondly down at Team Lorain County Growth Partnership. Did a very good job. Also, congratulations to Tim and Terry Kudrowski. Punchki Ball was wonderful this year again. I had a great time on Sunday night. But then back to real business. Yesterday I had the opportunity to go to Columbus, doing a legislative visit with Environment Ohio on the alternative energy legislation. We did legislative visits. I met with Representative Daniels from Southern Ohio, Pike County, Representative Drayhouse from Cincinnati area, our own rep, Matt Lundy, and also Matt Barrett's assistant, because he was already down on the floor. And we were pressing the House to put benchmarks into the alternative energy legislation so we can start working effectively, creating jobs in Ohio. Ohio is the second most beneficial state in the country when it comes to alternative energy with the proper benchmarks in our state legislation. It's almost an immediate impact of 1,500 new jobs in Lorain County in the next 12 months. Met with a company that's actually doing wind farms across the country. We were with a family who represents over 4,000 acres in Logan County that's trying to get a wind farm up. I think we were received very well. It seems like they've all decided they're finally going to put benchmarks in it to make companies such as First Energy and the other utilities required to use alternative energy, not just waiting until 2025. Also had the opportunity while we were there, Representative Kazura was able to secure for myself, and Frank DiTilio and Mike Challenger went with me, our Chamber of Commerce president, and Mike Challenger from Lorain Growth Corporation, who is basically the county's sustainable guy. He's been involved for a long time, and he helped work the legislative business. We also went to the State of the State, and Governor Strickland shocked a lot of people, I believe, when he brought out his new mandates, the $1.7 billion he's going to put towards economic development, his Building Ohio Jobs. as we talked about with Commissioner Blair, Commissioner Kukowski on the rail issue. He's taken $1.7 billion and directing $250 million into advanced renewable energy economy to help with the startup of new industry in Ohio, $150 million in state's infrastructure for roads, rails, and ports, $100 million in bioproducts that use renewable resources such as the biomass and such, turning plastic into oil and turning our landfill waste into renewable products. He showed a cup made in Ohio, red cup with Ohio logo on it. Also $200 million towards our biomedical industry, $200 million for Ohio Main Streets Renewal Initiative to redo the downtowns, and that's real close and dear to me because I'm a downtown merchant. So it was nice to see he's trying to reestablish our downtowns. $400 million in our Clean Ohio Fund, and $400 million in the Ohio Public Works Commissions to partner with for roads, bridges, water, and sewer projects. And when I got back here yesterday, I spoke to Corey Timko from the city of Lorain on their wastewater treatment plant. They're trying to move it off the waterfront. They'll be applying for this money shortly. It's about a $250 million project unto itself, and it's part of the rebirth of Lorain, is getting that sewage plant out of there. So, Governor brought out a bunch of new things, the education, our Director of Public Education, taking away the State Board of Education's autonomous power. He's going to have somebody overseeing it, similar to what he did with the colleges. He introduced basically the PSEO program for all high school seniors throughout the state of Ohio. He is guaranteeing there will be partnerships within a 30-mile radius of all community colleges to offer 4-year degrees, similar to the community college partnership, which Roy Church was on the forefront of. The governor's taking that as an initiative. And also, he is dedicating dollars for Veterans Affairs. He's putting a Director of Veterans Affairs in the state of Ohio because, as he said, we're going to have more veterans than ever with the current war action. So it was a great week. I had a great time in Columbus. It was night net working with everybody. Bill Harper says hello. I ran onto him
great.
at the floor. So it was very nice. Very productive week.
Very exciting. Thank you, Commissioner, for that report. I appreciate your attendance. I would just like to remind everybody that the Commissioner's office has absentee ballot applications. It looks like Ohio is even going to be more important than we thought last week. So if any of you need an application, get an absentee ballot. You do not have to go to the voting booth on Election Day. You can vote absentee, and all you have to do is fill out that application and send it into the Board of Elections, and you'll get your ballot in the mail. Ted talked about Team Lorain County's meeting last Friday morning, which was followed Friday afternoon by Lorain County Community Alliance meeting here. It was a very informative meeting, and we continue to plod along trying to be productive in group purchasing and other things that we are involved with. We've prepared a letter to our congressional representatives talking about $5 billion from the rainy day fund into transportation/infrastructure because they're getting very short. And John Hosek from NOACA was at our meeting last Friday and asked us to do that, and it was adopted by the group. So that letter will be going out today. So I think we're at the point now where we'd like to hear our presentation. Madam Clerk?
Will you do board correspondence and waive that
Move
first?
that the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion, Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Wood.
That one's fine.
Dr. Wood and Jack
Somebody short
Slempa,
here.
our dog warden, and Rick Lalonde, dog enthusiast.
First, I want to thank the commissioners, Ted, Lori, and Betty, for starting this program up. So far, we've had 2 months of the program, and I'm going to give you a little bit of detail of what we've done. You should have some statistics in front of you, the raw numbers, and we'll make some recommendations at the end. The details of the program: we have a spay-neuter program, and we do take care of any injured animals that are at the pound. We visit twice a week, and we're going Mondays and Thursdays currently. And during this visit, we'll make a selection process. We'll look at which animals are basically on death's row. This is their final chance. They've had an opportunity to be adopted by the public, and if we don't take them out at that time, then they're euthanized the next day. We've done, I think, 32 so far for the first 2 months that would have been euthanized already, so we have already had an impact on the decrease in the number of youths. The selection criteria, we look at temperament, age, adoptability. We have limits on the number that we can do on space available at the Friendship Animal Protective League. They're part of a partnership with us that they will adopt these animals out after the spay and neuter has been done. They transfer them from the pound to the hospital to get spayed, neutered. We do a detailed examination at that time, make sure there's no other medical conditions. They're vaccinated. There's a heartworm screening. These dogs are ready to go. After the procedures are done, the exam, the spay, the neuter, they're transported back to the Friendship Animal Protective League where they're adopted out. When they're adopted out, they also sell a license, which has generated some funds to this program. And looking at the numbers so far, just in the 2 months, if we extrapolate that out, you're going to have about a $10,000 increase into the fund. So using $0 out of general fund, using all donated money, we've actually increased, by the end of the year, it projects out the same way, another $10,000 to the program. So it's very synergistic. It's a win-win situation. Real good working with Jack. He's been easy to work with. As far as the injured animals, so far in the first 2 months, we've had 2 fractured legs, 1 prolapse, 1 dog with keratoconjunctivitis sicca, which is dry eye, and 1 ear tumor. And so far, we haven't had any outbreaks of any major diseases like parvo and things like that. A lot of that has to do with the weather. When it gets warmer in the summer, we have to do some preventive measures, and I'll get to some recommendations what we can do to prevent some of these disease outbreaks in the future. Again, our adoptions are up. There were some concerns that this program would usurp money from the program and that adoptions would go down and that they would actually lose money. In fact, it's been just the opposite. Adoptions are up to, for this time period, at 116, where it was only 103 during the same time period last year. So we've increased adoptions in addition to decreasing use, again, by that 32. And we've increased revenue during that time period of about $1,700, which extrapolates out to a little over $10,000 a year that should be coming into the program because of this. Recommendations. The first thing that I see is that we would need another staff member would be great if we could do this. I don't know if we can do it through Mr. Kitty, where it would be a staff member of Mr. Kitty's, or through the county, where you would have a part-time person, approximately 1,000 hours a year would be about 10 grand a year. Coincidentally, it's about the same number that we're going to raise in this program, to clean the cages, keep the dogs clean throughout the day. The dog wardens themselves have other responsibilities. They're out and about. There's no detailed record keeping as far as appetite, if they're sick, vomiting, or diarrhea. We get 2 visits a week. To be proactive to prevent things like parvo, it'd be nice to have a detailed medical record on all the animals as they come in, not just the location where they were found and their time up, but their appetites, any signs of disease, and we can be, again, proactive in stopping that. It's not a difficult procedure to do. Again, it's getting someone, if we increase the funds for this program. What else do we have? More detailed medical records. And finally, we want to increase some public awareness of this fund. Again, this is all voluntary. People have volunteered to pay an extra $5 to their licensing fee to help support this, and we've been very thankful of that. We've actually going to do some more of our own fundraisers and make some direct contributions to this in addition to the general public. We are partnering with Friendship Animal Protective League to set a world record. I read an article in one of my journal magazines the other day where a veterinarian in Florida did 56 spay neuters in one day. We're going to do 100, and we're going to do it in one day. It's going to be in April. We'll get you some more information on that. But I've timed myself, and I think it's very feasible that we can do 100 neuters in one day. So if there's any questions from the commissioners, I'd entertain those. And if Jack has anything to say.
No, other than how easy it is to work with Doc Wood, and it's been a learning experience with me as far as what to look for. It helps me be a better dog warden, and the numbers prove themselves from 2006, and you have the 2007 numbers, and this is based on the indirect and direct cost study that I did under the guise of Maximus. We made $35,998 in 2006, and you have the numbers that we made in 2007, $48,000. I mean, that was just based on the fees the fees for that study of the applicable services, which can also go into based on recommendations of what he says. And it's a win-win situation all around.
Are there any other county programs where there's zero cost to the general fund where we provide so much public service?
No, this
That's
is,
why I
this
just
is
wondered if
very
there's any other-
unique.
Any other partnerships that, like this? So it is a unique program.
Very nice job, Doc. Glad we finally got this on board after 3 years.
Yeah.
It's nice to get it going. You can actually, want to advertise Saturday night, Lorain United Polish Club, Erie Shores Humane Society is doing a puppy and paws dinner. You might want to get some information out. If you say additional advertising, those people are very passionate. They like to pass information around. I was in an event last month with them, so.
We work with them directly too. They've
Okay.
actually part of the transfer program.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Okay.
In fact, any nonprofit shelter within the county is welcome to participate in the program. The only place that has a facility is the Friendship Animal Protective League. But we work with Erie Shores. They've done 2 or 3 dogs in this program. They put them actually into a foster home. So as long as they have space and they're willing to do the transportation, we will open up to anyone in the county. And we open up to any veterinarian in the county. So far, I've had some resistance, mainly because of finances. For us to reimburse them, the fees that we reimburse, they'd actually have to donate about $200 of their own service to do this. So it's kind of like pulling teeth to get some of my colleagues to do this. So if my colleagues are watching, if you'd like to help me out with this program, I would greatly appreciate that.
That sounds like a plea for help.
And I did have some information on Allied Waste. I just recently moved in Amherst. In fact, you probably saw my closing in the paper. They dropped off the blue thing in my driveway yesterday, and they said I have 2 weeks to finish up using my garbage cans, and then in 2 weeks, only going to pick up the blue thing in Amherst.
The city didn't notify the
No,
residents of
the only reason I know is
changeover?
because I called them to restart service because I moved from one place to another.
Oh,
And they said there's a 2-week kind of break-in period where they're going to allow you to continue to use your old trash cans, and then after 2 weeks, they're not going to pick them up anymore. And people probably figured out they put their trash out and they didn't pick it up in 2 weeks, so just a little update
Did
on
they
that.
tell you if you had additional garbage that wouldn't fit in that can, what you're supposed to do with that
I
garbage?
think you're supposed to illegally dump that as well.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Good answer.
I believe, they didn't say it, but I would believe they would provide you another one if you ask. I think it costs more to have 2 big blue ones as opposed to 1.
But if you normally use one,
Yeah.
and then you have something happen, like a remodel or a flood or something like that, and 1 week you have more garbage,
There's,
what are you supposed to do with that?
You'd
See,
have to ask them. I
that's what
believe-
the
I
people
believe there's a
are,
tipping fee that you just go down and take care of that.
yeah,
Uh,
that's the questions that need to be
Right.
answered and let the residents know.
Good question.
Did
Yeah.
Amherst have unlimited garbage pickup before?
Yes,
Oh, they did? Oh,
Oh, before,
all right, I
as long as
didn't
it
know
was, as long as each piece was under a certain amount of weight,
right. You could
put
put
out
whatever you want.
unlimited, as long
Okay.
as it was less than a certain weight, the weight in each piece. Everything?
Okay.
Oh, I'd just like to say that, this is a great partnership here, and United for Animal Justice is so thankful to the commissioners for appointing a medical director, and, thankful that Dog Warden Jack Slumpa and, Dr. Wood are able to work together so well and get this program, up and going. I looked over the statistics like Dr. Wood said. I mean, hopefully we can get like 200 or 300 dogs through the program this year, and there'll be like 200 or 300 fewer that are put to sleep. And in addition to that, we've been working to get more spay and neuters here the last few years. So all these dogs are either spayed or neutered, and so that's going to cut down on the number of dogs, the intake we have in the future years. This year was a especially trying year. I don't have to tell you guys about the foreclosures. I'm sure you're aware of that. And unfortunately, that has a lot of bearing on the animals in the country too, because people lose their house and then they turn the dog in. And so despite having an increase in the number of dogs that came into the kennel this year, the actual percentage of dogs that were euthanized dropped. And so, that's really a testament to what we're doing, and I'm sure it's going to continue to drop. I would I'd like to point out on the monitor here, I have a picture of a dog named Dallas, if they can show that.
Can you switch that, Jim, so you can see that picture?
Dallas is a dog that was hit by a car. People saw it being hit by a car. It was taken to the county kennel. The dog warden and his staff had it taken to Dr. Fox's. It had either pins or screws put in its leg. I'm not sure exactly which ones.
There's 3 pins.
3 pins. And then the staff thought it would be better if the dog, had a home environment. So they contacted us rescue groups, and we put it into a foster home for a while. And the dog is recovering very nicely. And, it's these kind of things that just exemplify the great partnership between the county commissioners and the animal groups and the dog warden here and the dog pound. I mean, this poor dog, he would have otherwise had to be put to sleep before this medical program was started up. This is a very, gentle dog, and if people, that are watching this on TV would like to adopt this dog, they can contact a woman at buckwheatph@aol.com. The information is down there.
Buckwheat.
And
I had a cat named Buckwheat. I had a cat named Buckwheat.
the pet is already house trained. He's been altered. He's been given his shots. He's heartworm negative. I mean, he's just a very friendly dog. He loves everybody, and he's ready to go. And so there's another thing, if it's okay if I may show this. By far the biggest thing that can be done to stop this crisis of overpopulation, not just in Lorain County, but in Ohio and the whole country, is for us to spay and neuter animals. I mean, the bottom line is every litter that we have, there's more dogs that need homes, and we only have so many homes come available each year, in Ohio and in Lorain County. So like each unwanted birth is one less dog that can be adopted out of our shelters, like our county kennels. So, there's a very easy fix to this if people would just spay and neuter their pets. And we have a great opportunity in Ohio now to buy this pet plate for people's cars and pickup trucks. And the money goes into a fund that's only used for spaying and neutering. And then rescue groups, public facilities, shelters can get this money and spay and neuter pets. And I know the dog warden has applied for this money in 2007. He received money, and they had one or two spay and neuter days.
I was gonna footnote that, but go ahead.
So, this is this is really a great thing for the dog. So, I encourage people at home, if you love dogs and cats, to buy this plate. If we could just get one person on every street to buy this, we could pretty much end, putting dogs to sleep in Lorain County. And so it would just really be a great thing. So, like I said, so in closing, I just want to thank the commissioners for what they've done here. This is great. Hopefully we'll be back here in January of 2009 and reporting to you even better numbers for 2008. And I look forward to talking with you guys too about, I know you're in the process of thinking about what you'd like to do with the physical facility there, like, getting a dog run outside for the dogs to get exercise in, for you to possibly get a puppy room and an isolation room. And, those would be great things. I'm sure, with your financial awareness and stuff, that we can get something that will be, financially, good for the kennel, so it won't be in debt for a long time. And I think that would just be a tremendous improvement also.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Dr. Wood and Jack?
I just had a footnote to what Rick was saying about the pet plate. We were awarded a $4,000 grant in 2007, and we conducted a seminar out at the APL in May 17th, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a success. But under the law, I have to go ahead and apply for an extension to that money. And just last week, I talked to Dr. Lisa Bertani in Columbus, and she granted the extension to September 1 of this year. And in closing with that, I've also been working with the hierarchy of the APL to conduct another 2, so I can go ahead and have a couple more of those sessions out there. And it was really awesome when I was out there viewing that. It was really, I know Commissioner Lorain was there, and it was really nice. So I'm working aggressively towards that. So I'm juggling a lot of things, but I'm glad I got an extension on the grant money.
And how many
So-
did we have spayed and neutered that day?
23.
23.
Correct.
So that-
It's done by a point system.
We're going to do 100, though.
Have a
Good.
sharp knife, Doc.
Thank you so
And Rick,
much.
by the way, we'd rather have people, if they're going through those issues and have to leave their animals, please turn them in to the dog kennel instead of leaving them locked up in homes or letting them run loose. I think it's very important.
Public comment, Teresa, is that where we are?
Correct.
Anybody wish to address the board? Come to the microphone, please. State your name and address, and tell us your concern.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Warren Daniels. I live at 510 Georgetown in the area. I've been there about 36 years or something like that. I've been in the area for about 40-some years. Been so long, I don't remember how long. I hate to trouble you, commissioners, but I have to tell you something about this stuff here. The county is in trouble. Many people are unemployed. Jobs leaving the area. But you have bids that are federally funded tax dollars. You have a couple of minorities that should be working on these jobs. We pay taxes. The taxes are the revolution of everyone. You got about 3 bids right now that's gonna go this month. There's little or no minority participation on this project. So we have a group of guys, about 30 guys, they're working right now. They're not like me. I work for myself for 40 years. I'm a plumber, very good plumber. I used to work with the union back in the 60s when they didn't even want black contractors, black people working. I had to fight them to get on the job and everything. They laid me off. I was the first guy to leave, but I outworked anybody that was there. So they used to tell me, Warren, we can't keep you. Because if we lay, this kills seniority, if we lay one of these guys off and keep you, you'll be the only one here and you can't do the job. So I understood where it was coming from, so I started my own business. That's beside the point here now, but I'm a concerned taxpayer about this problem we're having here, about minority participation on these projects you're having. And from now on, from these projects, one of these guys will be there and see that you have minority participation on this project, because there's no other work that's going anyway, and we're not being used. And actually, it is a crime. It's a discrimination crime that may be addressed one day if you don't handle it right. Prime contractors awarded a bid should be evaluated to see if all the subs you want to know all the subs that he used and the dollar amount and the minority participation that he's going to use. This hadn't been done on your project, but you do have it in the paper in the little legal section there saying affirmative action. But you got to address it differently, because a lot of contractors come in the area, they don't think they need a minority. They say, I don't need nobody, I'm working these guys, and we never get a job. But he's using our tax dollars to work with. So that's where the problem is. Okay, the procurement procedures by them, this is very simple for you to do. You got someone there that should be your MBE person, before the contract is awarded to that individual, you should say, who are the subs? You hadn't yet done this. I know for a fact that this didn't happen because I was working at the MRDD as a plumber. A little job over there, I could hand it standing on my head, it was nothing. These people try to make it look like because I was a black guy, that I didn't have enough experience to do the job. There's one guy, I can't prove it, but I already filed some things with the Civil Rights Commission. They released me from the job on December 3rd. And they're trying to prove that I couldn't do the job. They brought in another contractor, plumbing contractor, which the guy used these. Everybody's working on their job right now, he used all the time. I installed the underground plumbing prior to contract. It passed inspection. I got all the above ground, above the ceiling, all the roof drains and everything on this MRDD building. Then when I was trying to get the second roof prior to drywall, the underground wouldn't hold, so I cut the underground and tried to get the above ground, because this figure's about $34,000 is owed to me, and most of that money I put up cash for my material. And it wouldn't pass. The building department, these little inspectors they got, which they don't know nothing anyway. These guys are not plumbing inspectors. This guy didn't know how to read the blueprints. I do. I can read blueprints, extract my work from the blueprint, put a price on it and everything. I wouldn't tell you no lie. I've been at it for 40 years. If I didn't know how to do that, I wouldn't tell you that. I'm very good at what I do. But these guys try to make it look like I didn't know what I was doing. This guy didn't even know how to read blueprints. He was inspecting the job. So we got in an argument. So everybody thinks that Warren is trouble. These guys have embarrassed me in front of my family and in front of my customers and everything, and I'm not gonna stand for that. So what I'm gonna do is I want you guys, what I said, to evaluate these people, because this one guy, I was watching television the other day about the skinheads and stuff. This one guy, I think, is a member of a terrorist organization. I had a lot of problems from him from the very beginning. I can't prove it, but I think he sabotaged my plumbing. So after the plumbing was sabotaged, I got upset, and he called the sheriff and ran me off the project. I was working early in the morning, wasn't anybody there. He said, I said, what's the problem? He said, you causing trouble. I was trying to fix the leak. But I wanted to get the price, my money back for the above ground, because it was okay. You could look up there, it wasn't nothing leaking. I had it full of water. The roof was on the roof. I had the roof drain full of water. And there's about 6 foot of water on the roof. So I wanted the inspector to either check the storm drain and let the water off the roof so those guys could do their work. Everything I asked them, they made it look like I didn't know what I was doing. So the general called the sheriff and had me removed from the job. Now I tried to get this little group at MRDD, the board, to understand where I was coming from, but they hadn't yet. So I have a little thing here I'm gonna give to each commissioners and the law director here, because you're involved with these bids. I'm telling you these things because I can help you people when it's come to bid. The MRDD building, the architect you have, the guys that are working, the big timers that's working, I can show you things that's wrong with what they're doing. If somebody wants to sit down to me, that building shouldn't have been built at that elevation anyway. I see a lot of problems in that building. So they're asking about the problems that I'm doing. I don't have no problem. I plumb buildings all over this county for 40 years. I always say about Lorain, I used to work with Walt Kukowski. He used to take me everywhere. I did a lot of churches. He never had a problem with it because I know the plumbing business. That's why I'm going to have to sue this guy. And if I'd like to, I could also sue the county. I could sue the building department of Valeria, because sometimes the building department is intimidating the black contractors, trying to make the people think that they're incapable of doing the work. But when you run into a person like me that knows what I'm doing, I'm not going to tolerate that. So for that, I think now that that's the end of what I'm saying. But I already contacted the lawyer, and I contacted the Civil Rights Commission. There are Attorney General office. They're investigating what I'm saying here. But the fact that the county program, the way your procurement procedures is not up to par, you're going to have to change that. From this day on, you're going to have to, when you award a contract to a prime contractor, you're going to have to sit down and evaluate the contractor, see whether or not he has a minority, or see all of his subs, see the dollar amount. This man intimidated me from the dollar from the very beginning. I go up and look at the bids after the bid opening. He had $70,000 for the plumbing. So he called me up and asked me, hey, Warren, you want to work with us? I said, of course I want to work with you. He wanted me to do the plumbing for $51,000. That's price shopping. That's illegal, especially on a federal contract. He doesn't know this. These people don't know these things like that, but I've been around for over 40 years. I know these things. So I can get this guy on that. So what I want to do now is over with. For the 3 commissions, I want you to take a look at something. I'm going to give you this information. These people, December 3rd is when I was released from that project. That material is mine. I filed a lien that I'm never going to sign that lien. That building should never be turned over. I know that the county owns the land and the mental retardation owns the building. That
Mr.
nobody
Daniels,
should-
you have documents for us?
What?
You have documents for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
And
gonna-
Mr. Cortez has some comments that he would like to
I'm going
make.
to give the law director one.
That's fine. If you give it to him, he'll share it with us, however you want to do it. Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Commissioner Blair. Couple
To Jerry.
clarification points as soon as Mr. Daniels is done. clarification purposes, I heard a couple accusations out here about our conduct that I think we need to respond to. I don't want to say too much because there's already litigation ongoing, and that has to do with a private matter between this gentleman and the prime contractor. But let me state this, most definitely on the record, we comply with all laws, rules, and regulations. Ms. Newton, will you come to the podium, please? You take care of all the bidding processes for the county,
You're correct. Correct.
Do we not follow every rule, law that's out there in our bidding process?
Yes, we do.
And when we use federal funds, do we not comply with the federal regulations concerning those federal funds?
As far as I know, Mr. Cordes, we do.
Okay. I always thought we did. I just
We
wanted to make
always-
sure
we
we
always do.
clarify here for public.
I'm sure I wouldn't be here if we didn't.
I don't know about terrorists. I don't know about skinheads. I don't
We
know
have
about any of
those,
that stuff,
we have
okay?
those forms in there that each and every bid, RFP, anything we do with contracts, those are mandated that we put those forms in there, and the contractor or the vendor has to fill those forms out, and they have to submit them back with it. If they're marking yes on something, Jerry can tell you, we don't use them, we turn them in, and we've not had that.
And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Daniels, I've indicated to you before, if you have a position regarding that and you want to put your remarks into a written format that it has substantial information that we don't have, we will respond to that. We're not perfect, but I'm pretty comfortable stating for the record that this Board of Commissioners does not violate any laws whatsoever with regard to bidding or the conduct within the minority community. And I'm sorry you're having a problem on that job, but this is a matter between you and the prime contractor, and we have discussed this several times in here, and you continue to make these accusations. And the board has looked at this issue before, and they've had their staff people look at this issue, and they've had their legal people look at this issue. I don't want to say too much more because I know there's litigation out there, but you have complied, Commissioners. You have done nothing wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Cordes. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the commissioners? Seeing none, I'll move we adjourn into executive session for the purposes outlined by the administrator and the assistant county prosecutor.
I'll second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.